The Imugi was released in 2023 during the Lunar New Year event, so it's only fitting that the free robot for the Solal event this year is the Imugi. This is an extensive guide on how to build and play the secret powerhouse that is the Imugi, going in depth on Imugi's kit and how it works, which weapons, drones, pilots, pilot skills, and specializations to use. I'll only be covering some of the most popular weapon choices, including the weapons that you can get for free during this event, and I'll also be rating them. But of course, not every weapon will be mentioned here, and if you don't see a particular weapon mentioned throughout the video, or just have any questions in general, leave a comment and ask me about it. I will also be using two different Imugi, one at Mark II level 1 with all specializations unlocked but not leveled, and a glider drone at level 2 plus phase shift, so it's more accurate to what a free-to-play experience might be like. The other Imugi will be at Mark III with fully leveled specializations and max drones. They will share the same pilot though, since my memoriam funds always look this bad. This guide will focus on the Mark II Imugi, with only one very small section at the end dedicated to the Mark III one. And every single weapon, with the exception of two, whether meta or not, used throughout this video will be at Mark I level 12 or Mark II level 1. And I will be using the Frederick mothership. Even though I have an Avalon, I feel as if the Avalon would ruin the guide, and I think the Frederick is more fair. The guide is targeted for players in Masters or Champions League, so if you are in a lower league, take what I say with a grain of salt. For some aspects of Imugi, mainly weapon choices, that I say are not worth running will perform well in the lower leagues. And just one last thing before I start, a lot of time and effort goes into these types of videos, so a like or maybe even subscribing would make my day. Thanks, and with that out of the way, let's fly right into it. Imugi has one of the more complicated kits in War Robots, and is one of only 3 flying robots that has never been nerfed, the others being the Harpy and the Siren. And it's faster than any other flying bot other than the Seraph. It is also one of the most versatile bots in the game, although it has rather poor firepower with only 2 medium and 1 light slots. It makes up for that because of its speed, stealth, health, defense, healing, rapid cooldown, and teleportation. Imugi's kit allows it to be what I like to call a jack of all trades but master of none. The ability is called Battle Breach, and when activated, Imugi activates stealth, takes off in flight, activates bonus damage based on its rank, and leaves behind a portal. Imugi also stays in stealth for the entire duration of flight. On landing, it gains defense points and creates another portal, connecting the two and allowing any teammate to pass through, getting a heal and bonus defense points. Imugi can go through its own portals as well, although you do have to wait 8 seconds before you are able to. Imugi has 2 different pilots, both of which are really good and opened up different playstyles for Imugi. Monique grants 15% defense mitigation and bonus damage, which lets Imugi take full advantage of the Webby drone, and able to apply rust and slowdown. I would use Monique if you are really planning to invest your resources into Imugi and take it from anywhere between Mark II level 6 and Mark III level 1. Otherwise, I would just use the Maoling pilot, which is the one you get from the gift marathon anyway. She provides extra defense and healing. As for how much defense she provides, we're about to find out. A Brisant that does exactly 18,387 damage to Imugi with absolutely no defense points added, does only around 10,713 damage when Imugi gets the defense points on landing, which is around a 42% damage reduction. But with Mao, Imugi instead gets a damage reduction of 57%. Mao's defense lasts for 10 seconds rather than 8, which is the exact same duration as the time it takes for Imugi to be allowed to use its own portal. Which means, if you use Maoling, you can essentially cycle your abilities and teleportations so that you have defense points active the entire time Imugi is on the field. And as for her healing, it's a straight up extra 20,000 health, bringing Imugi's heal to 100,000 HP. As for teammates, they get defense points and 20,000 healing if you land near them. When comparing the 2 pilots, I think Maoling takes the cake. But if you already have a maxed Webby, then Monique and Mao are on par with each other. As for pilot skills, the most important one is Depth Survivor. Next comes Wonder Worker and Mechanic. Then Stubborn Warrior would be after. The rest, like Speed, Health, and Module skills would be last. Imugi was granted the Support specialization, which gives it access to Repair Amplifier, Robot Accelerator, Last Stand, and the Cloaking Unit. I would recommend using the Repair Unit and the Last Stand, since Imugi can become extremely tanky. Adding the Repair Unit provides extra healing power and even more defense. However, I do personally run the Accelerator, since I love Speedy Box. But if you want your Imugi to perform better, the Repair Unit is better. And the Last Stand is generally more useful than Cloaking, since Stealth can be more easily countered than Invulnerability. As for the active module, I would only run Phase Shift, since it can save you from so many things like Lockdown, Quantum Raider, and a bad landing. For drones at levels 1 through 4, Glider will 100% be the best in slot for Imugi. That applies only if Phase Shift is used, which it should be. Other good choices in low levels include Beak, Reviver, Starter, yeah, even this guy, and Pascal, though it falls out of fashion when leveled further. For max drones, Kestrel is first. The gray damage healing is just too good to pass up, and Imugi can actually activate it 2 times, once on takeoff and once on landing. Webby is second, although keep in mind Kestrel is better with Mao, and Webby only works with Monique because of its defense mitigation mechanics, and Webby might get nerfed in the future. Kestrel will almost certainly not be, since Shy and Armadillo are my next choices, and the Glider still works well. For your viewing convenience, I split this section up into chapters based on the individual weapon families. I'll work from the closest range weapons I selected and up, and rate them based on how well they perform on Imugi. I will also go over how to play Imugi based on the weapons you choose. If you play Imugi in close range, then opt for more of a hit-and-run play style. Mastering the ability and knowing when to use the teleportation is key for close range. The most important part, though, is to make sure you have a safe landing with lots of cover. The Monique pilot is better for more damage, and Death Survivor, Foolhardy Quartermaster, and Dodger are highly recommended pilot skills when choosing a close range playstyle. When choosing close range weapons, do not pick anything with under 300 meters of range. Also, having Imugi at higher levels will help a ton for damage and health. I decided to include these even though they are getting nerfed. The magnetic weapons are one of Imugi's best in slots, providing even more healing than it already has, and the 350 meter range is no longer a problem thanks to the Seeker drone being nerfed. The only problem with these weapons are the damage. With the damage nerf incoming and the reload being a bit long, sustained damage is not the greatest, but it works well with a more hit and run playstyle. I would give these an A- tier rating. The Ice Rockets got a massive buff recently, which in my opinion puts them in the sub-meta category. Not quite meta, but performing above average. Imugi can make good use of them because of its speed, flying in close and unloading a full clip. However, they are extremely hard to aim on the ground and are known for missing. This flaw is amplified by flying, so I would recommend not playing these unless you are very experienced at aiming specifically on a flying bot. For experienced players, I would rate them an A tier, but otherwise they are B tier weapons. These weapons have 500 meters of range, but I'm considering them in the close range category because they hardly work at ranges anywhere beyond, say, 300 meters. These weapons are about to get a buff which increases the shot grouping, which will allow it to do more damage at higher ranges. Imugi can make use of this by staying a little farther away when firing. These weapons have direct fire, so no aiming skills are needed, although the shot grouping pilot skill is available for more damage at more range. You do need to be at almost point blank for the blast charge effect to go off though, which puts Imugi in danger. Imugi prefers weapons that either have a quick reload or are always reloading. Still good if there are no other enemies around you, and you can pick off a loner, B- tier. Mid-range Imugi is one of the most versatile in my opinion, only really susceptible to snipers and other mid-range builds. Beacons are a bit more risky to grab since the firepower of most mid-range weapons are not super high. You don't have to be as careful in landings and is a good starting place for beginners. Damage and speed pilot skills are recommended for this playstyle, and Death Survivor is still a priority. Don't get me wrong, the DPS is still good, but Imugi's 8-second flight means that Imugi can only fire one full clip of the hazard and Blight. The fire rate means that Imugi will chip down most bots, but in my experience it will hardly get kills. What you want to do if you run the Imugi with the radiation weapons is keep the third shot, which does the most damage, in the clip. Since most of your damage will be done during flight, and since a lot of bots are equipped with phase shift, having the third shot ready means massive damage to an unsuspecting enemy, and there is enough time for Imugi to reload and fire a full clip before it lands. B- tier. There isn't really much to say about these weapons. They shoot and lock stuff down. You can steal a kill here or there, but the damage isn't great because of Imugi's low firepower. But if you are using these and planning an ambush, make sure your clip is full. Otherwise, you will be reloading the whole time, since Imugi likes quick reloads. C tier. I consider these to be the best free-to-play accessible option for mid-range. They are very consistent in their damage output, which is rather high, and they have good range, are available in the workshop, and synergize very nicely with Imugi. They reload automatically and are tier 3, so they cost less to make in the workshop, less resources to upgrade, and enemies won't have intel on them. They are meant for pure damage with no special effects, and are pretty easy to use. A+ tier. Another pair of weapons that are relatively easy to get. The reload is long, but that is balanced out by a massive clip size. Out of all the mid-range weapons, these perform the most consistently, with an added freeze effect, so the damage is high. As of now, they are in the blue data pads, so they are easy to get, and really easy to aim. They do have some problems though. Paired with Imugi, and I'm assuming other flying bots, there seems to be a bug where they'll just completely miss at random times in the air, and good luck hitting anything moving towards you. They are still good weapons though, and go through physical shields, but watch out for nerfs, since they are susceptible right now. A tier. The worst of Imugi's playstyles. Except for Regulator, Imugi doesn't have any good long-range playstyles. Snipers are meant to have heavy weapons, and 2 medium and 1 light doesn't cut it. Imugi likes closer ranges, so it'll suffer from not being able to make use of its kit. Remember how I said that Imugi doesn't do well with long reloads and short clip sizes? Well, you can throw all of that out the window because the Regulator Imugi is so broken that the reload isn't a problem. The Regulators make it so that Imugi can basically one-tap any bot from 800 meters away. That's basically it. They also do more damage at ranges above 350 meters, which is totally needed. This build is broken and takes no skill to run, S tier. The weapons that came with the free Ardent Imugi during the 2025 Lunar New Year event. And if you have to take away one thing from the weapons section, it is whatever you do not upgrade these. I did manage to get some kills out of it, but that is due to luck, and I had to go through several games before I even got a single one. The damage is good for around 2 seconds, and then it overheats and tickles the enemy. They do have infinite firing, but at the cost of all the damage. And there is a way to make them fire longer with the Harold Hahn pilot, but you would be sacrificing Mao's protection or Monique's damage for 3 extra seconds of tickling. And if you ever wanted to change weapons, you would be stuck with a useless pilot and have to re-upgrade an entirely new one. They are not entirely bad, but have so many flaws that I can't see how I can recommend these to anyone. D tier. A maxed Imugi makes it better in every way, although there isn't too much of a difference between the two Imugi. The Kestrel drone helps out a lot with the healing, and max specializations makes it super speedy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and maybe even subscribe. That'll be all from me this time, and I'll see you in the next one.